my name is Jason and welcome to the Gunner Station, the channel where I talk all things Arsenal, and today I'm going to talk about Arsenal's next game in the Premier League at Vicarage Road against Watford. Firstly, thank goodness that the Premier League is back. I'm just getting bored of the international break. I mean, as I mentioned in my last video, I'll support England during Euros and World Cups, but it just bores me otherwise, and with no Arsenal players playing for England, I'm just like, my interest is even lower. And speaking of England, that actually leads on to our first bit of team news, which is that English defender Rob Holding, see what I did there? But Rob Holding is actually, he has been back in full training, and there's actually a rumour that he might even start against Watford on Sunday, which is fantastic news because even though he actually got injured before Christmas time, he was arguably our best defender from last season, and if it wasn't for that injury, he would have definitely played for England, and our season probably would have ended up being better than it was, or finishing better I should say. Emery seems to really trust and like him as well because he's different from our other defenders, so yeah, it's very welcome news. In other team news, Kieran Tierney and Hector Bellerin are back in full training, which is great news because they're our best fullbacks. Kieran Tierney is the more likely to return quicker just due to the severity of Hector Bellerin's injury. There's rumours about Granit Xhaka and Torreira from the international break. They've picked up knocks, so we'll see how that goes in terms of Emery's team selection this Sunday. Now on to Watford. In recent seasons, this has become the Troy Deeney game in a lot of ways, ever since his cajones comment. My personal opinion on that comment was, I can see when fans say, you know what, we appreciate the fact that he was being honest, you don't get that much honesty with footballers these days, they're like robots. Or there are some fans that say, you know what, about that Arsenal team, he was telling the truth. They do lack cojones, they were a very weak-minded team. But end of the day, I feel it was very disrespectful towards Arsenal and their players. You don't have to go out and say that sort of stuff. And if anything, it's actually worked against Troy Deeney because now all the refs have watched that video and been like, you know what, we're going to see what happens, him whacking these players. And last season, against Torreira, he went to whack him and the referee was, clocked onto that and sent him off. If he hadn't made those comments, he probably would have got away with it. That's how the likes of Ashley Barnes gets away with, his roughness. It's not necessarily been a dirty player, but the physicality, it has been noted by the referees. It's just gone against him, and of course he obviously missed a penalty as well against us. It would have been better if he hadn't have said them comments. And Watford have sacked their manager and replaced him with one of their old managers they sacked. It's a bit crazy, but it works for Watford, doesn't it? Their main aim is to stay in the Premier League, and these high turnover of managers they seem to go through, it works, doesn't it? So I'm just hoping from an Arsenal fan perspective that because this new manager, the new old manager, he hasn't had enough time to, gel with these new players because they've all been away on international break, or most of them have anyways, because they do have a lot of internationals, Watford. And because of their recent run of results, they'll be low confidence, and we can take full advantage of that. Of course, you do get the new manager bounce, which Arsenal seem to become victims of that more than any other club. I remember we were victims of that last season with Southampton. There was the first team to beat us last season, well, after Man City and Chelsea anyways, but you know what I mean. But I am hoping that because of just the way Watford have been recently, they're there for the taking and we can take advantage of that. That cojones result aside, our record at Vicarage Road has actually been quite good. We beat them 3-0 their first season back in the Premier League, then the season after we beat them 3-1, and then of course last season was the 1-0 result, which people have said a bit lucky to have gotten that, but you need a bit of luck in results every now and then. And actually, that was our only away clean sheet of the whole season. I couldn't believe that, but yeah, it's true. We let in goals against Cardiff, Huddersfield and all sorts, but Watford, we get the clean sheet, which is great. As for my predicted lineup, I'm going to base this on the fact that I believe that Emery will keep the front three as it is and then not go so defensively minded in our midfield like he did in the Spurs game. So for my predicted lineup, in goal will of course be Bernd Leno, because of course it will be. Even though he was a bit shaky against Spurs, I believe this is an opportunity for him to bounce back and show what he's really capable of. Because we don't have any right or left back at the moment, it will be Maitland-Niles and Kolasinac in them positions. In terms of our central defence, I would really like Callum Chambers to get back into the team. Of course, we kept the clean sheet when he played in the team, and I really rate him. I believe that he can be a very good player for Arsenal, but I do believe that he will play Socrates and David Luiz again. Maybe if he did the back three, he could put Chambers in there, but I believe Chambers will get his chance in the Carabao Cup games, maybe alongside Holden, and that could be our defensive lineup for the future, maybe even England's. But yeah, no, as much as I'd like Chambers, I believe he will put Socrates and David Luiz in. If I was to put Chambers in, I would actually take out Socrates. Socrates has been a bit dodgy for me. I think because he's obviously cheered on a few tackles he's made and whatever else, he doesn't get like a lot of stick. People have actually said that Mustafi was better than him towards the end of last season, and looking at it, I'd have to agree, but Socrates gets away with it a lot. I believe David Luiz has obviously got his reputation, which probably people will go for him rather than Socrates beforehand, but I would play David Luiz and Chambers personally. In the midfield, I'd continue with Guendouzi because he's played very well and he deserves to stay in our team. Alongside him, I'd play Joe Willock, the guy who just signed a new long-term contract, because I wouldn't play Granit Xhaka. I think Joe Willock would offer more towards the team. And then ahead of them, I'd play Dani Ceballos, because he's much more attacking-minded than Xhaka or Torreira. I mean, Torreira, I believe, might be injured or have a knock from playing for Uruguay, so I don't believe he'll play. Otherwise, I would have tried to have fitted him into the team. And of course, the front three will be the front three we played for against Spurs, I should say, Lacazette, Pepe and Aubameyang, because they're our best front three. We need to be playing them all the time. As for the score, well, I hope Pepe gets a goal, because unfortunately people are starting to criticise him now, which I think is unfair. They just need a bit of patience because the talent's clearly there. But I'm hopeful he'll score, and like I said earlier, I believe that Watford will be in a down due to recent results. I don't think the manager's had enough time with them all being away on an international break. I'm going to be bold actually and go for a 3-0 victory to Arsenal. So that's it from me today. Please let me know in the comments below if you agree with my predictions. If you enjoyed the video, you can subscribe or leave it a like. If you wish to follow me on my Instagram, you can follow in the description below. As I said, my name's been Jason and I'll see you soon. Take care.